perspective from a lot of the people in here, I think. So I have been using AI to help me in my preschool classroom with social emotional development and enhancing like our classroom themes. So I work at a Head Start in Manhattan, and a lot of my students are Spanish speaking, so that will come up a little bit later. Okay, so my whole experience with ChatGPT started with this turtle that's in my classroom. So I made him using like crochet methods. And he started out as just a stuffed animal in the classroom, but I wanted to use him I want to like personify him to try and expand his, I guess, versatility in the classroom. So the methods that oops, okay. All right, so I'll go through kind of there we go. The four, or I guess the three different ways I've mostly been using him, and then talk through some of my challenges. So I've been using him to tell stories, to leave daily notes. I've been using image generation to create like a cartoonized version of him. And then I'll talk through my challenges at the end. So the generators that I mostly use are ChatGPTs for the stories and the notes, and then I've been using Midjourney for images. Okay, so stories, to talk a little bit about what those are. I choose like a weekly theme that's relevant to my students, whether that, I guess the themes are listed a little below. So that could be public speaking, adventures in the ocean, kindness, birthday celebrations, managing emotions, responding to others, treating somebody unkind. So it's really anything that seems relevant at the time. And sometimes that's just something that's fun. Like right now we're learning about our turtle goes on an adventure where he gets to eat some ice cream. But last week he was trying to jump off of the diving board, so he was conquering some fears. So yeah, these can be really broad, but I use ChatGPT to help me write the stories. So this is a sample input for what I might say. Um, and I don't have a sample output because it tends to be pretty long. So this is just kind of what I would put in, and then I would work with the output accordingly to try and tailor it a little bit. If I don't like something that it has, I would adapt a little bit. So I generate a chapter book, and each day I read a chapter of the book, and they kind of cohesively work together throughout the week so that by Friday the story has finished. So that is the first thing I've been doing, and this has become a big favorite. He also leaves us daily notes on the classroom door. So every day when we come in, we have a little note from our turtle. So he might be telling us about something that's going to happen during the day. Maybe there's like a special art activity. Maybe he wants to share something about the unit of study. Like when we learned about oceans, he would often share like a fun fact about turtles. Um, and then this is a sample output. So we were learning about water and the water cycle. So this was like a reminder for him of what the water cycle is and what the big steps are. And the outputs for the notes all look pretty similar to this. I would put in an input saying that I want it to start this way and end this way, asking for good rhyme and rhythm, and then saying like what I want addressed during the note for the day. And then, okay, for images, the images have been really helpful for getting the children excited about different themes. So they feature the classroom turtle in different contexts or experiencing different emotions. And it's a helpful way for the children to kind of get interested in a theme in a variety of different ways. So, we're doing all sorts of different things in the classroom anyway, but by connecting them with this turtle, it helps them to like expand their learning or to like relate to something. Maybe they're upset with me, but they might be able to relate to the turtle who's feeling a similar emotion to them. So these are a few sample outputs. So the one on the left, we were learning about like treating the oceans and water with kindness, and we were learning about pollution. So it's kind of showing how ocean animals dislike and how they react to being in polluted water. The one in the middle here, we were learning about outer space. So our turtle became an astronaut. And then the one on the right, we were learning about New York City. So he became the Statue of Liberty. This has been like a helpful way to get the children interested in a variety of different things. Yeah, and to help them with like emotional regulation of it. And then I would say my biggest challenges have been large outputs. So with the stories in particular, because the outputs are so long. So I do them in English and in Spanish, which is helpful. So like I'll get the story in English and then I'll translate it to Spanish using ChatGPT as well. But because of that, every week I'm getting a pretty lengthy output. And what's happened is I had like perfectly tailored a chat
Okay.
to give me what I
Um,
wanted, like a correct output, and then to translate it accordingly in like an easily formatable way. But I've had a hard time transferring it to a new chat because the old one started lagging a lot. So I've been having a hard time getting it to like replicate that same generation. Even though I like have put in all the details and I asked the original chat to tell me what to say to the new chat to get the same thing rolling, I've had a hard time with that. Um, Image consistency has been a little tricky. I have been using character references, and I'm excited because I think just this week they um, added a new feature into Midjourney where you can have a specific character that's repeated over. So I'm hoping that will go away. But I have noticed over time that even with my character references, like it has kind of deviated more than I would like from the original. And kids are really good at picking up on that. They're like, wait, his shell is blue today versus green yesterday. So they do notice. So that's something that's been a little tricky for me. Text and images I've struggled a bit with. It tends to get a little mishmashy. It doesn't always end up being like the words that I requested. Like it might say last day of school, but the A is repeated twice or school is spelled incorrectly. So getting text and images has been a little tricky. And then just the confidentiality. I think that's something that will improve in time. But when working with children, I think not being able to use their names and things does just make it a little more lengthy to have to like swap them out at the end. But that has been my general experience. It has been really, really helpful for me. It's saved me a lot of time, a lot of energy, and it's given me, I would say, a new way to like approach classroom management. So it's less my voice and more of the turtle's voice. So